National Front represents the worst of humanity. Yeah, is actually scapegoating people that are the victims of the system.
Neighbours of mine go to church regularly and they're condemning refugees without thinking about it, just by reading the local press and by reading the tabloids.
I've lived here for 30 odd years and I've seen the decline of Thanet. It's easy to scapegoat a minority that have come in.
And even the people in charity shops, when the refugees come out, will get air fresheners, as though they're dirty, as though they're some, horrible form of life, and they're not. They're people the same as everybody else.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now!
I'd like to think that we could offer them a safe haven. After all, we've always been a haven for people who've been oppressed. Most of the National Front, the people I can see before me today really don't understand the arguments. There are a hardcore, numbered in hundreds I suspect rather than anything else, who are just out and out racists. They try and put on a respectable front, but underneath it all we see the racist attacks, we see the stabbings, we go back to Stephen Lawrence and the rest of it. We're not going to put up with this. We're not going to let them get their ugly heads over the parapet. Every time they appear we're going to squash them. Today is an example. There are hundreds here who just hate what they stand for and are going to do their best to stop it.
Did you have a parrot in Iraq?
No.
This is Aram. He does voluntary work in his community. He has no income at all and he's not allowed to work. He's not a criminal, but he could be hauled into prison at any moment.
The real reason I left my country because my family wanted me to become a suicide bomber.
He's a Kurd from Suleymaniye, and his strongly Islamic father wanted him to become a suicide bomber. Aram refused. He was tortured and managed to escape to Britain. For the next 6 years, Aram learned English and spent his time trying to help people in his local community.
I've tried to teach him London backslang, but he hasn't grasped that yet. He will. At the moment, he's just calling people geezer and things like that, But no, he's very intelligent, very articulate, and an asset to any society I can think of anyway.
In 2006, after 7 years in Britain, the Home Office turned down his claim for asylum. Aram was suddenly detained by the immigration authorities. He was told he was going to be sent back to Iraq.
A Kurdish asylum seeker who claims he was tortured in Iraq because he refused to become a suicide bomber has been detained by immigration authorities in Dover.
Aram Rauf has lived in Thanet for 7 years after fleeing his home aged 17. His detention comes on the day that the government pledged to get tough on failed asylum seekers. Simon Jones has our story.
Aram Rauf, seen here before his detention, would often come to Dover to quietly contemplate how he said he refused to kill innocent people in Iraq, how he made a new life here, got a job, called Kent his home.
I just don't understand their thinking. Here's a lad who earns money. He had a good job with Migrant Helpline. He was working as not just an interpreter, a senior interpreter, can speak half a dozen languages, understands the culture, is learning the culture of this country, but he's compassionate, and so he can do all these different things. He would not run away, he wouldn't work, he wouldn't do anything illegal, and because he's become so anglicised over the last 6 or 7 years, I find that absolutely incredible that they could say that he's got to go, but on what grounds? Other than somebody in high places has got to meet a quota, but somebody needs to remind that you're dealing with human beings, and the horror, the shock.
After 10 days in detention, he was released without explanation.
Just to detain him callously and then to treat you like a piece of meat while you're in this, I just haven't got the words to describe how I felt. Neither after what, not much more than a week or so, just to be sure you can go. If somebody is settled here, has become, to all intents and purposes, anglicised, has gainful employment, pays all the taxes, national insurance, all the dues that are on any citizen, is accepted as a member of society, what is the problem? I don't understand. As I say, I'm probably naive and stupid, but to me, and I know a lot of other people, it just seems ridiculous. I've seen fires, I've seen arson, you know, I think both cases were arson. You get muggings. There was a bloke they found dead down, wait a minute, I'll show you. There's a little alleyway there. The local glue sniffer was found dead down there. I do know, because I lived here, and I made certain inquiries, that when they were doing that pebble dashing, they were paying Kosovan refugees, or asylum seekers they were, £2 an hour to do that. No face mask or anything, you know, just get on with it, you know. That's lovely, isn't it? You see all this lot, most of these are flats, and this place at the bottom is quite notorious, but don't ask me to stop there because I don't want a knife in my back very much. Yeah, look, there's an example. Look at the bottom of that door, the way it's been kicked in. See, that's typical. And a lot of the windows are smashed. I don't know who they put in there, but whoever it was didn't care, which is quite sad actually. That's Dalby Square that's been done up. Do you want to go around there?
Yeah. What's happened to it?
Well, the square itself was a ruin. When I worked at that ruin there, which is Arthur Court, Warren Court. I said, mate, you walk in the middle of the road, nobody will mind. And this is a joint venture with the local residents and the council, and they've made it really nice. It really is a nice plot. There are proper children's facilities. Nice sex shop there if you're interested up there. Why do the dispossessed all have fierce looking dogs? What is that?
What's this property we're looking at?
It's a large house of multiple occupation. There are about 6 tenants, and one of them told me that they'd been told to get out of the place by the council. Told them February the 4th because you've got to get out, the electrics are no good, there are no fire escapes. And the council said, look, you're on the list, you see. Now if you're on the list, you're on the list. So presumably it's not dangerous until they can get them out, but where are they going? Because the council's got very little to spare. There's flats going up willy-nilly. I support the idea of affordable housing, social housing, and the main motive of all of this is profit. They're not doing it because they like us, they're not doing it because they think, oh, poor people in Cliftonville, you know, we'll build lots of flats and they'll all be happy. It doesn't work like that, I fear.